Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Future of Finance webinar. I'm Michelle Denislos, and it's my pleasure to guide you through today's event. The future of finance isn't coming, it's happening right now, and you're right place to be part of it. Today, SAIFA is bringing you a live interactive session on AI, quantitative analytics, and global career opportunities, designed for anyone ready to step ahead in the world of finance and innovation. Whether you're a student, an aspiring quant, or a finance professional looking to upskill, this session will bridge the gap between theory and the high stakes world of global finance. So get ready because we are about to dive deep. We are truly honored to have with us today a leader at the intersection of mathematics, statistics, and global finance. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Yeshan Withanage, Vice President of Quantitative Modeling at one of the world's largest multinational financial institutions. Dr. Withanage's academic and professional journey is nothing short of exceptional, with a BSc Honors in Mathematical Finance from the University of Colombo, a Master's in Mathematics from Ohio University, a Master's in Business Administration from the University of Colombo, and a PhD in Mathematics specialized in statistics from Ohio University. Today, he holds a senior leadership role in quantitative modeling, where he drives AI powered risk analytics, derivatives pricing, and financial engineering at a global scale. His work shapes how massive financial institutions model uncertainty, optimize decisions, and builds the future of finance. In this session, he'll guide us through the role of AI and quantitative analytics in modern finance, real world applications of statistical modeling in global markets, and most importantly, how you can build a global career in this space. Without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Yeshan Withanage. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Okay, so thank you for the introduction. It's actually a pleasure to talk to like students after like I don't know, maybe 20 years, because I remember I was in the first batch of ISNMF back in 2006. It's like now 2 decades. Wow, that means I'm old. Anyway, thank you, Vishmita, for contacting me for this opportunity. As you mentioned, if I just briefly introduce myself, I completed my first degree back in 2010, and then I was working in the department of our beloved mathematics department as a TA, and then I joined the Department of Finance, the management faculty as a professional lecturer. Then, so there I did my first master's because I had to teach statistics for to finance students in the management faculty. So then I came to USA for my higher studies. There I completed my master's and the PhD. Afterward, I joined the industry like in 2022. It's very short period of time as a risk modeler. So my so in terms of the title, it's actually when compared to Sri Lanka, it's kind of a senior role, but still we are like so I'm like at very basic level. I would say I'm still learning. There is so much to learn. Uh, so I'm gonna share what I learned so far and what I have seen and what I'm seeing in the market. So my kind request is don't consider this as a lecture, right? So just let's make it conversational. Um, so I will share my views. Please feel free to stop me, and if you have any questions, you can ask your questions. So the goal is this talk is this is a conversation about your future and what you can do, where you are, what's how you can upskill yourself so that you can match to the upcoming changes. Uh, so I'm totally okay to do this in both Sinhala and English. Uh, so even though I do this in Sinhala, most of the words will be in English because some words, most of the words we're gonna talk are in English. Um, okay, so I I I hope most of you have the background of mathematics, statistics, so quantitative finance, and some computer science, right? Uh, so so if you have such a background, so it is the perfect base to have when you are entering into the job market um, in this exciting moment of the history, like because the market is changing rapidly. Um, and so if you just think about, so right now, the data is more valuable than oil. And AI is transforming the industries, finance is becoming intelligent, and people who can think mathematically are in massive demand. So so this is the perfect moment to come to the market if you are open to learn new tactics, right? Um, okay, so the most interesting part is a lot of students still think the finance is only about accounting, or it's like about banking counters or people shouting on trading flows. Um, like if so even when I was like when I was even in my final years, I didn't have much idea until even when I was finishing my PhD, when I was like getting interviews with different industries, then only I knew, okay, so there are so many applications of what we learn uh, in so many different ventures. We just need to be open and see what is out there, right? So if you just try to focus this conversation on finance, the so right now the finance or the modern finance is becoming something very different. So now it's becoming more predictive. It's like kind of a predictive science. It is automated, and it is data driven, highly data driven, and it's deeply technological right now. So the people shaping this future are no longer only bankers or like the people who are shouting in the trading flows, right? Or that means the traders. So the people who are shaping this industry is right now the coders, statisticians, machine learning engineers, um, the quantitative analysts, and problem solvers. So that means, so if you just think it's something people like you can be, because you are already having the base that is what others don't have. Like, for example, when we talk about data science, so data science is a very vague word. It captures many, like it captures a wide range of people. So anybody can become a data science, I would say, if they know some jargons and have some background with some coding skills, they can easily become a data science. But if you need to go up in the ladder and if you need to support your senior management or your senior leaders to make like insightful decisions, you should know the theory, what's behind, and what's it going to be, what are the limitations of your model or whatever it is, and if something change, what are the options we have or what we can do to rectify the existing model, right? So since most of you, so since we are like Sri Lankans, so let's make it personal and see what's going on right now in our country. So our country, the exchange rate is moving dramatically. and inflation change everything. It mainly changed family budgets. Digital payments are increasing. The cyber fraud is very common and it is increasing. So business consistently face uncertainty. So what does that mean? That means in fundamentals, all these problems are actually related to numbers and decisions, right? So that means imagine like some examples. So let's talk about a bank. So a bank has to decide to whom they should give a loan. And if you take a mobile phone, so there are so many apps, and so those apps should be able to detect fraudulent transactions to inform the bank to stop the transaction and like mitigate the risks. And if you uh, think about a big company, they need to predict the inflation because it impacts everything, or the foreign exchange rate. Uh, and if it is an investment team, they will try to hedge the market risk and improve their profitability, right? So behind all these decisions, uh, what we have the data. So we need to analyze them. We need people who can analyze the data, and we need people who can explain the story to someone who doesn't have any quantitative background. And so we need people to build models. So AI is there, but AI cannot do everything. It is still hallucinating, right? So we need people who can validate AI results. So if you cannot, if we try to overly depend on the AI or large language models, LLM, anything, like it can be anything. So right now we have so many tools. We should know how to use them, and we should not overly depend on them. We should be able to use them, and uh, we should be able to validate the results or the models that we are building. So that's why this field is interesting right now, and not only globally, even in Sri Lanka too, because so even in our country, like in Sri Lanka, the companies are moving towards these AI tools and the usages. Um, okay, so before I further proceed, if you have any question, let me know. Like if so, what's your perception about the quantitative finance? How do you define it? I can give you like maybe some time to think about it. So what do you think when someone says quantitative finance or quantrol or quant modeler or whatever it is, something related to quant? So do you get is it a scary word like nuclear physics? Uh, I don't have any idea what does that mean. It's for me it's more scary. So what's your perception when you heard the quant term? Anyone? So the quant is very simple. Like just to give you some idea, like quantitative finance, the idea is very simple. It's like we are using mathematics, statistics, and programming to make better financial decisions. So that's it. So our primary goal is to make better decisions, more insightful decisions, right? So at its core, quant work asks questions like, uh, for a bank, will this customer repay a loan? Will he go delinquent, or will he go bankrupt, or will he be having any problems? and how risky is this investment? What happens if interest rates change? If it rises, what will happen? What will happen if the economic scenario changes? Um, and can we detect fraud uh, before the money is stolen? Um, or how do we measure the price uncertainty? Like especially when we are like uh, pricing financial derivatives uh, or financial instruments. If so, and there is another interesting thing, like when it comes to students, especially, or many people, like they misunderstand a role of a quant. So they think quant is about trading, or it's more focused on those trading or hedge funds, things like that. But even in our movies, we mainly see those hedge funds or Wall Street traders. The most jobs right now are actually in banking, in fintech, the financial technology. It's in risk analytics, fraud detection, and it's in forecasting. Like it's have like so some people do like analyze people behavior, custom analytics, and AI systems. So the best quant professionals are not necessarily the people who know the most of formulas. So they are the people who can understand the real world problem and use data intelligently and build something practical and explain it clearly. Um, so, like, if you just think, so even when we were learning regressions, I think it's maybe in our second year. Uh, so we never think about any practical scenarios where this can be useful. How do we use this in the real world? We just try to learn the theory, and we try to memorize certain things, assumptions, those kind of stuff, and and that's it. And then we just write the exam, we pass, uh, and that's it. But when we come to the industry, or when we try to apply them, then only we understand the importance of these assumptions. What does that mean? What is the meaning of the linear regression? What is the meaning of why it is important to have the linear term? What it really means, and what do we do in when we do these linear regressions? And we have so many problems where we have nonlinear relationships. So how can we make them linear? So what are those transformational functions that we can use? And sometimes it's not only about like predicting a continuous number. It's sometimes we have to predict, okay, so this person, he is he going to pay the the balance next month or not? If he's not paying it, uh, is he like going to the next risky level or not? Um, so if it is insurance, we can predict, like, okay, for a given policy holder, uh, what is the probability this person um, is being not alive next month? So things like that, right? So that it is the same, like even if we take the credit card or mortgage loan or whatever it is, if the account holder is dead next month, or is deceased, or bankrupt in the next month, so then the bank or the financial institution has the risk of the loss. So then we should be able to predict that loss by using a model. So what are the options to build such a model? So are we doing uh, can we use machine learning model, or do we have to explain it to the regulators or the users of those models? So things like that. right? So these are very practical scenarios. And when we were students, we never thought about those things. We actually, they become real, like we come to this realization only after we are in the industry. Um, so, so let's see like some problems, just to give you some idea what kind of real world problems that the quantitative people solves. So one of them is credit scoring. Like just imagine a bank is receiving like 10,000 loan applications. Humans possibly it's if we try to use like humans just to analyze them, it will take forever. So what we can do, the banks are using some automated systems to analyze these um, loan applications, and they try to estimate the probability of repayment, likelihood of default, like if this person will be going to bankrupt or will not be paying the loan amount in the next few years, and what are the potential losses. The challenge is a model that worked last year is not the fixed model. It's not going to work this year because this year data is changing, and it can, like our inflation can increase, the economic conditions can change, it can get worsened or get better, and people's salaries, all the other microeconomic variables are changing. uh, so so then the bank or this financial institution has to revisit their model, make necessary changes or adapt their model, and to make those changes, they need people who can understand this real world scenario and uh, use the existing data to build more like more meaningful models, right? So AI still cannot do that. Like it can do like some more regular work. It can it can increase our efficiency, but it cannot still replace certain jobs. So so being a student like in third year or fourth year or even a freshman, you should focus on uh, like on those things. So you should know how to use the existing tools and become irreplaceable. Like you should know how to use these existing tools to improve my value. So that means, in other words, like in management, that means you're doing the SWOT analysis, and you should know how to use this threat uh, to make an opportunity. So if you can do that, you will be in great shape in when you are graduating, right? So another like example is like fraud detection. So if we so every second, so many financial transactions are happening around the world. For a given financial institution, there are like thousands of transactions are happening in a given minute. So so some of them are genuine, some of them are fraudulent. So we should be able to detect those fraud activities in real time. And at the same time, we should not um, give hard time to genuine customers. So that's a really big challenge. And and how do we like identify these fraud detection, fraud transactions? Like we can see like unusual spending locations, and like like some impossible transaction timings. Let's say sometimes, so there are people who can clone credit cards now. So so at the same time, same credit card is being used in two different locations. It is impossible. So that means there is something wrong. And let's say you are based on you are based on candy, and uh, all of a sudden your credit card appears in gold, and at the in 1 hour it appears in Anuradhapur. So that means something is wrong. right? Um, so if the bank can restrict those transactions without being before being realized, so then they can save a lot of money. uh, and some strange behavioral patterns. Suppose you are not a high spender, and and all of a sudden you become very active in your credit card in no time. So that's a suspicious behavior for a account holder who has certain way of behaving in the history, and all of a sudden the behavior pattern changes. So then the bank can analyze those behavioral patterns, and they can guess, okay, this can be a fraudulent transaction, so they can take precautions. Uh, so that's just one example. So there are so many examples. Like so if you're building a portfolio, we can use quantitative people to uh, to help, like, to answer certain questions, like how should this investment be distributed, like in what equities or financial derivatives we should invest our money, and how much of risk is there, is the risk is too much, or can be more flexible and be aggressive to gain some more market, uh, like be can we get like more profit than what we are having right now in our mix, or what will happen if there is a crisis, like it can be anything. So during COVID, the transactions or the financial markets acts very strangely, and people behavior, nobody was able to predict that. How people were using their money, especially in the USA. Like um, so when uh, when COVID hits, everybody thought, okay, people will not pay their outstanding balances in mortgages or maybe in credit cards or auto loans. But what happened was, uh, people started paying down their loans. And how so but at the same time, the unemployment is so high. It is the highest in the if we look at the historic numbers, it is the highest unemployment. That means people are losing their jobs. At the same time, they are paying down their loans. So what is happening? Nobody, the models cannot explain such behavior. So then we need to adapt according to the data that we are getting. We need to adapt our models and predict the next year or the next month or the next day what's going to happen, how people will behave. So those are like very interesting, challenging questions that as modelers they had to. I was a student at that time, but uh, now I can see what they did during how to address these like uh, outlier type data, how they are using this outlier type data to build models based on this previous behavior. And right now we have this algorithmic trading. We have so many automated bots who can decide when to invest, when to sell, when to buy, things like that. But that means someone has to build these models, right? So those people, they are not like some um, random coder. So they have to have some background. Even a random coder can do that. There should be someone who should review the code and see the outcomes. If it does make sense, is it pure or is it pure luck? Um, so so portfolio can, like as I said, so everything is interesting right now. So we have so much data. That means the data is noisy. There can be so much of noise inside the data. So and data is changing rapidly, and so and the real the if you look at the real market, the market is also noisy. We cannot, if you just look at S&P 500, um, or Nasdaq, or even in Sri Lankan stock market, the data is highly volatile. The stock market data is highly volatile, and they are changing rapidly. Nobody knows what real information is there, or is it noise, um, and which moment of the current market is driving this behavior. Is it purely AI driven bubble, or is it gonna burst? Nobody knows. So that's why it is interesting. And sometimes it's emotional. The market is emotional, like when something is happening, especially in Sri Lanka, like the politics can drive the stock market in an emotional way. Um, and also it is competitive, right? So these are like few examples only based on finance. But if you're interested, like so when you learn like at a higher level degree, you might come up with other ventures also, not only finance. So I have seen people who are moving, so they have background in math and statistics, and they are some of my friends are now actuaries. And so I have seen people, they are moving to biostatistics, yeah, and predict the pharmaceutical, because everybody are using math and stat, and they need people who can adapt. Because if your theory is solid, if you have a solid theoretical background, so adapting to any industry is just knowing the business know-how, is just like learning the business. So and at the same time you should know like some coding skill. You should have some coding skill, otherwise it can be a problem if you don't have that skill. Um, so if I come back to the our conversation, like, so AI is it's revolutionary right now in finance. So artificial intelligence, uh, large language models, Gen AI, and there are so many applications from different vendors. So the most important question is, will AI replace jobs, right? Um, Actually, the better question is, it's not that AI, like our jobs being replaced by AI. It's actually AI will replace who doesn't use AI. That's what I heard during one of our industry talks. Um, the real question is, which jobs will become more valuable because of AI? So if you can answer that question, you can do your research, or you can do your job search along that line, and you can you can become more valuable, or you can use these tools um, to use these existing tools, and uh, learn how to be marketable. Uh, so um, so AI is definitely being used right now to automate certain regular decisions. Um, like for example, loan approvals. So like these are like very regular type work. So even without human interference, um, they can make these decisions just by giving some set of rules. And some basic level fraud alerts are AI driven, and some customer recommendations. For example, uh, so in the USA is a highly it's based on credit. right? So most of us are using credit cards. So suppose you are applying 10 credit cards within last 2 weeks. And when you're applying for the 11th credit card, an AI system can easily reject you, even though you have a better history, because your movement is risky. So the explanation is you have opened this much of credit cards in a short period of time, so we cannot approve this application. So that's very simple. So we don't need a person to do that. You can, because like, so in the USA, every person has a unique identification number and everything is get connected to that number. So all your transactions or all your um, information is connected to this number. So if you apply for a credit card or a home mortgage loan or auto loan or anything, um, it will connect ties to this number. And so when we apply for a new loan, line of loan or credit line, we have to give this number and it can detect, okay, uh, what this person has done, like, during the last 6 months. So they can see, okay, so he's acting more riskier now, so we will not proceed with this application. Um, and some trading signals, risk analyst, certain level of risk analysis can be done automatically. So, so there are some uh, like some applications of AI, and AI is automating the knowledge work. Like AI can now summarize reports. So if you're familiar with Copilot or some applications like ChatGPT, even if you give a research paper uh, to ChatGPT and ask like some insightful questions, it will give you like some reliable answers. But at the same time, you should read your research paper and you should know if it is giving the true answers or not, right? Because AI don't entirely depend on those tools. Uh, you can use them more effectively, but you should be truthful to yourself, otherwise you will not learn anything. Um, so we can use AI to summarize reports and analyze financial documents. And also, if you're not familiar with coding, you can just type some basic snippet and give it to LLM, so it will generate uh, like more reliable code for you. So that's something nice if you are new to this area, because you can effectively use these existing tools to generate something cool, and you can use them. Uh, and we can like you can write some analysis, and you can use the AI tools to make it more appealing or more insightful or make it better. Uh, right. And so yeah, as I said, like you should know like you have to verify the AI outputs, detect failures. Sometimes it's not giving what we are expecting. So if you don't know that if it is the true answer, then you will be using a wrong answer uh, because you don't know how to validate, right? Um, so in my view, AI actually increase the value of human judgment. So that means uh, if you're a user, then you should know how to judge what AI gives you. Uh, so that's why it is important to learn the basics. Um, so then if you just think why this human skill matters, uh, finance is a very dangerous place. if uh, if it like just purely based on the models are it's because the models are they are not dynamic, they are static. Like, so model does not change by itself according to the economy or the environment. So it's us who should know when to change or how to change the existing model according to the changing environment. Uh, so the model may be perfect for your training data set, but for test data set, it's not doing what's expected to do. Um, so so sometimes we don't realize that the model is not working properly until we really apply it to the real data set and see the results. So uh, so like when it comes to the modeling work, so we have this training data and then we have test data set. So sometimes like we build the data using the training data and then we can do back testing. Like so back testing results can be really good, but the forecasting results where we don't have the true actuals to compare against may not be that good. And then we should be able to find the the reasons why it is working better for backtest results and why it is not doing what it's supposed to be done, supposed to be doing in for future or for the forecasting results. So that means we need research. To do research, you should know the business and as well as you should know the theory of basic statistics and mathematics, right? So if you just think like, um, so what kind of skills actually these employers are looking for? Um, so GPA is important, right? So GPA will give a signal that you can do some theoretical work, but the GPA alone is not enough. Suppose you don't have I had so many friends, they don't have a higher GPA, but when it comes to certain subjects, they are really good, like especially when it comes to practical uh, explanations, they are really good than those people who have a higher GPA and or more theoretical. Because sometimes the theoretical people, they don't think about the application. They are purely constrained only in the theoretical scenarios. They are not practical. So the employers, they actually they don't only look at GPA. GPA is important um, because ultimately you have to pass the degree, right? Um, and so theory alone is not enough. And those high paid jobs or those more interesting jobs, the employers actually pay for people who can solve problems reliably. So that means you should understand, um, like, you should be able to understand the basic concept of regression, classification, or probability, forecasting, time series, that type of things. But at the same time, you should be able to explain why or what your model is doing and why is it important and when it will fail. Um, so that is the most important thing. You should know the the drawbacks or the limitations of your model. Then only you can improve it further, right? Otherwise, if you think, okay, I built the model, this is the perfect, and that means you are not developing yourself or you don't develop the model, um, and it's not good. So at the same time you should improve your programming skills. Like, so right now the Python is universal. It is open source, it is free, So if you are not familiar with Python, uh, please please learn. That's very important. Even when I was having my first uh, my industry job, I was not using Python. I was using R, but I knew how to use R, and it's just like a transition of knowledge from R to Python. So if you know at least one programming language better, then you can easily transfer your knowledge to the next language. So you should be able to like you should become actually strong in Python, SQL, because most of the big data sources are in databases. So you should know how to use SQL. You know how to retrieve necessary data from these big data sets, and you should know how to clean your data, visualize, get the summary statistics, interpret them, to identify outliers, things like that. Um, and then how to build a model uh, which you can explain the results, right? So if you have these skills, then you are like employable immediately, because so those are the most basic skills that anyone should have if they are planning to go to the industry. So then the next challenge is how to communicate these skills, right? So when we are completing our first degree, we don't have any experience. We don't have the no, excuse me. So what we can do, how to showcase our skill set. Um, so what you can do is, if you don't so as far as I know, like there are some industry training programs even in the University of Colombo. So if you can get into those, please use them, utilize them, like try to build your connection or the network in the industry. Do your best there, so that when they know, okay, this person is capable enough, as soon as you graduate, they will hire you. So that's what happening in in my firm. Like if we have a good intern, uh, so they don't hesitate to hire them, become a full-time employee, right? Um, so even so in sometimes, like most intelligent people fail the interviews because they don't have this technical skill, or they don't know how to communicate their skill uh, to the hiring manager, or explain their work um, to the interview, the panel, in an effective way, so that they become you know they become more confident on you. If you're not confident on yourself, you cannot transfer that confidence into another person. So that can be a problem. So until you get a real job, what you can do, uh, first try to master those basic programming languages like Python, SQL, at least these two. And you can like find some real data sets, maybe uh, from like online source, or maybe like from somewhere, so, where you can get the data. If you have any data repository in Sri Lanka to use for free, just use them. Uh, so, and try to build a model that can explain the problem and your approach. So it's like a small capstone project. So you get a, you get a, uh, you identify a data set, and then try to identify the problem, and then you should be able to explain your approach and the model limitations or the risks of of that, and what are your recommendations? So, um, so the basic life cycle is, so we get the model, we get the data, we create the model, and then we document it, right? So in our documentation, we explain our approach, what we did, why we did it, and what are the risks. And so we identify our model limitations if we can, and then what are our recommendations for the next phase of development. So, so this shows a clear thinking process, or this gives a signal about your thinking ability to the other person, where they can read your documentation and they can ask questions based on that. Um, so it will create a like more fruitful connection between the employer and you, between you and employer, so that you can eventually use that experience uh, when you have the real, real job interview. So even if it is a university project, you can do the same. And rather than just trying to survive that project, just try to do your best. uh, it is helpful. Uh, I know, even though I tell this, like even when we were like students, we just try to survive the project. So that's the the bottom line. Sometimes like we have group projects, people do not show up in the university and they just come in the last week. Uh, and only one person or two persons are just doing the job, but everybody has to present. It's a crazy, so we spend like crazy nights, but at the morning we don't have anything to present. So I know that, but um, y- that is the reality. But if you can do something in a more uh, effective way, just do it. Just try to utilize your time and the opportunity. Otherwise, it will go waste, and you will realize, oh, I just wasted time. Uh, when I get the chance to do such a thing. Um, so and then if you just think, okay, what kind of career paths that you can pick at the beginning. Um, so the careers can be in different places. So it can be it can be in bank, it can be in a fintech, it can be a data science or AI role. So you should first identify that. Um, so what are your strengths, and what is driving you? For example, let's say you are highly driven by the pressure or the outcomes of the project. Just try to go to fintech, because those fintech companies are moving fast. So you can build those digital lending systems, AI driven fraud tools, payment analytics, recommendation systems, dashboards, things like that. And so it is excellent for students who enjoy building products and working under tight deadlines, or working under pressure. Um, so this pressure is not bad pressure; it's good pressure, right? And we have these banking analytics, like risk modelers, credit decision makers, and also fraud analytics and treasury analytics. So, so this path is more structured. You may not be able to get a chance to build a risk model on your first day, but you are in a path which is which has a more structure. So the bank or this financial institution can have a structured program for you as a newcomer. So the path is more stable, and they have strong training programs. So if you're looking for something like that, you can go in this banking analytic tracks. and become more confident in those areas, and then you can shift to more fast moving area like fintech. um, and there are other jobs like in data science and AI role models, like data scientist, machine learning engineers. If you are really good at coding, you just need to know like some and so if you're really good at coding and if you have a strong background in math and stat, um, so you can easily go into these areas like AI or ML engineers, analytics specialists, data scientists, or even software developers. Um, so we have like quant trading also. It is highly competitive and highly exciting. So most of the money circulating in quant trading, that means it has the risks also. So they need research strategy people who can build research strategies, people who can test models, build trading systems, like analyze market data in a more fruitful way. So they need like people who are very strong in mathematics, and coding is also very important there, right? So you should know your profile, and you can decide uh, a, a stream and then work on that stream to land on a certain area at the end of the at the end of your uh, at the end of the day. So that should be the goal. So there are so many options. It's you who should decide, okay, this is my way of doing things, and this is where I should be focusing on. Don't try to compare yourself with another person, because everybody has their own clock, right? So your clock is different than your peer. For me, like my clock actually started because I had my own obstacles when I was in Sri Lanka. Like it can be a family ties, it can be anything, right? So so you so the ultimate goal, because when I came to USA in 2016 to do my higher studies, but my friends, so I graduated in 2010, and so usually we do like 1 year in as a TA, and then we do GRE and TOEFL, and then they find their PhD or a master's placement mostly in USA. They just come here. So when I started my journey, like my master's in math, um, most of them are like in their final year of the PhD. So even before I finish my second master's, they have already finished their PhD, right? So don't try to compare yourself with others. So you like those people, like everybody has their own path. So you should choose your path wisely. When you choose your path, just think, okay, in 5 years, what I'm gonna do. Um, are you If you want to become a, let's say, a lecturer or a university professor, then choose your path. If you want to become software developer or software engineer, just choose your path and work on your plan, right? uh, so but at the same time, just try to learn what you have out there. And because in the middle of your path, you might think, okay, so this is not for me, I will do something else. Like so that happened to me many times. So like um I like especially when I was doing my PhD, I thought, okay, I will not do any research, any theoretical research anymore. I just want to become um, a practical person. Um, I love to teach, but I don't like doing theoretical research in math or statistics. I just want to see how things are applied in the industry. So then you can change your career goal, and then you can work on that, right? Um, So, so just think like what you should do in the next 6 to 12 months. Um, so improve your just focus on one practical skill and try to improve that. It is hard at the beginning. Everybody has to go through it. Even for me, I had to go through it. So I learned Python like on my first job, and on the job, it is there is a risk, like because if you're not familiar with what the team is already doing, and if you spend so much time there, it can impact your performance, right? So so when you have time right now, just think what you can focus on. Just choose one. If you think, okay, my Python is not good enough, just focus on Python and try to improve your improve your Python skills on data analysis. SQL, uh, even I'm not really good at SQL right now, but I can understand when someone else is using SQL, what does that what do they do, how they are using it. I can understand, but in my current job, I don't need to use SQL. Uh, and you can try to learn machine learning or data visualization or whatever it is. So there are so many free um, resources in LinkedIn and also in YouTube. You can just learn them, and there are so many free websites like W3 School, Kaggle, so many other free opportunities that you can improve your skill. Like you can write a Python program, and then you can see how effective it is and what other programmers has done for the same question, how they did it, and how you can improve your thinking. So like that. Um, and then try to find 2 to 3 practical projects, uh, not tutorial projects. These are real world problems. Try to find some real world data, maybe from Yahoo Finance or some other data source. Just try to get them, uh, try to identify a interesting problem. So read some key to 1 or 2 research papers. You may be able to find some interesting problem, or just talk to the department. So we have so many great people in both stat and maths department. Most of them are highly involved in the industry. They might have a nice problem for you. So just talk to them, or just try to find one by yourself. Uh, so it can be a loan repayment prediction or inflation forecasting, anything in fraud detection, stock market risk, analytic, or it can be exchange rate simulation in anything, right? So I remember when I was in my final year, um, I did a project. It's a capstone project to see the feasibility to introduce options to Colombo Stock Exchange. Um, so I went to the stock exchange, I talked to them, and I studied options. So my goal was to introduce options. So I studied options by myself. I learned the Black-Scholes formula. Uh, like I got the data from the stock market. I rebuild the stock data and recalculated the option prices, and see if we do this, what will happen. And so what is the legal background? Talk to those people. So collect your data, make a nice project. And I actually so that project was interesting, and they were at that time, even the stock market was looking at those financial derivatives, and most people in the stock market at that time didn't are not familiar with the project, so they asked me to do a small presentation based on my work. So that's nice experience. So you can do the same. So whatever you do, just do your best. Don't think about the outcome. you know um, and so document them clearly. So documentation is really important. because in the real world, if you, so after some years, you can become some senior leader um, in a bank where they submit a model. So then we are submitting those model documentation to reviewers. So they review our model and they analyze for model limitations. So that means we should be able to clearly communicate what we are doing um, on a paper. So documentation is very important. So where you can explain the approach, the problem that you're analyzing, and the results, the limitations, and future improvement. Um, so so these, if you can, so when you are going to the interview, if you can have one or two such projects documented and ready to deliver. So employers are like they will be thrilled to see such a work, and it will boost your employability to 100%. That's guaranteed. Um, and also you should be able to explain your work, because the person who is reading your report may not be familiar with the context. So you should be able to explain your work. Um, so I remember, like, when we were doing a real analysis, it's probably Dr. Ramasingh. Ramasingh has told us you should be able to explain the convergence to your grandma, uh, right? So so that if you cannot do that, or if you can explain it to a 5-year-old, that means you don't know it, because right. So it's like that, and so if you can explain those difficult things in simple words, that's very important, um, because it will show you understanding, as well as you make them also to understand what you are working on and how important it is. um, and the final thing is, you have to build your relationships with the outside people. So you can talk to alumni, you can talk to your professors or lecturers, you can talk to professionals, you can go out, like when you get an internship, or you can try to find some internship coordinators in those firms in Sri Lanka, and try to talk to them, convince them to land on an internship program. Don't just wait until the department is handing something out. Just try to find something yourself, and if it is feasible and if it is viable, you can talk to the internship program coordinator or make them aware of such opportunities, so then they can make it official, and uh, they may be able to find people to put on those internship programs. um, so these are very important. The communication, or you should broaden your network. It is also very important to land on better opportunities, because sometimes you will realize, like, after maybe 5 years, you will see, oh, there are so many people who has masters or PhDs, uh, and all are trying on the same job market to find a job. So then what aspects will uplift you from that crowd? Sometimes it is the network that you build throughout the time. So that networks is very important. Um, uh, yeah, so those are my key points. Actually, I wanted to point out in this. Actually, it's a talk, not a conversation. But I will stop here. If you have any question, uh, please feel free to ask. You can ask me questions in either language. I'm fine with English or Sinhala. That's okay. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. Just let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of today's insightful session. A huge thank you to our incredible speaker, Dr. Yeshan Withanage, for sharing such powerful insights on AI, quantitative modeling, and what it really takes to succeed in global finance. Thank you, sir. Truly inspiring. We'll now open the floor for any final questions or clarifications. Please feel free to unmute yourself to ask verbally or submit your questions through the chat box.
Okay, so there is one question on the chat. It says, looking at your background, you have both MSc and a PhD. For start a career at a global firm like Chase, is a PhD really required? No. Uh, but you should have, it depends on the job that you are trying to go into. Um, so like uh, it is important to have a master's. Uh, like with so if it is on a reputable university, that means you should be, as I said, like you should be able to showcase your skills, right? uh, so if you uh, and most of those jobs, actually, if you look at the job openings in those in these like top 10 banks in the world. So mostly they are looking for at least master's degree. Um, uh, and yeah, so master's degree is enough. At the same time, you should have a strong coding skills. Um, and so aside from degrees, for specific skills and qualifications do recruits look for the most? Um, yeah, so skill, the human skill is very important. You should be, the communication is also important. Like if you, that means you should be able to upskill your communication ability. Like you should, because I know how hard it is, like, so even even when I was coming to the university in 2006, my English was so bad, so bad. And I remember I had a Malasekara dictionary, and I was trying to convert all the words in my first year syllabus to Sinhala, uh, because I don't understand any of the words. Like, for example, linear algebra. I was thinking, oh, linear algebra, what is that? So then I was looking, oh, linear means Reiki, and then algebra is Vijayanatha. So I thought, oh, Reiki, Vijayanatha, oh, I know that. But then, but then every day I'm getting so many words that I don't understand anything. Eventually, what I thought, okay, it's not a word game. It's about the concepts. So I just try to learn the concepts. For example, so right now, if someone asks me what is the singular term for conditional probability, I don't know, but I can explain what is conditional probability, right? So it's not about, so don't think English as a barrier. It is just a language. So you should know how to use it. And the, like, you don't be afraid to make mistakes. Uh, the biggest problem in Sri Lanka is people, even those who don't know how to speak English, fluently, but they're ready to laugh. So, but in here we have so many international people. Like we have Chinese, we have Koreans, we have Indians, Sri Lankans, and Africans, and so many different international people. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody cares, because what we are looking at, the work, what they are doing, if it is meaningful, and if you can, communicate what you are doing or what you did is efficiently enough, nobody cares about the nobody cares about the grammar. So that's something, because I had a lot of my friends, they were struggling in the language. Um, but eventually, so you have to overcome that, because especially like you get a chance to learn, write, and pass your exams in English. So that's good enough. So you have 4 years to improve that. So just utilize that. That is important. And the skills, as I said, now the world is fast moving, so you should know, you should improve your coding skill, and you should become a team player. So do some projects where you can showcase your team skill, leadership, um, and organizational skills, things like that. So those are very important, because almost all the employers are looking for those things, because you will be ultimately working in a team, and then eventually you can become a leader who is running a team. So you should know how the team dynamics work, and how to become a more effective, uh, to become a how to more effective leader. um, right? So that's very important. Yeah, and so those are the important things. um, don't just try to stop with the BSc. Just try to get a master's in a repute, like some, with some nice content. Even though the university is not a higher rank university, still you can, landing on a good job, or good opportunity, if it is. Okay, so we have another question. What kinds of projects should students build to stand out when applying for internships? Um, so it depends also. Like, let's say, so if you're talking about the projects inside the internship, uh, the thing is, I don't know right now what's going on. So I remember when we were having our internship program, it was like 3 month long program. I remember, I had I went to AIA or something, like actuarial internship program. It's not actually long enough. So if you can have at least 6 months, it's nice. That means you get a chance to learn the business, and you get a chance to do something. Um, uh, uh, Even if you don't get long enough time, you can try to find, talk to your internship coordinator in that company that you are working for. Just try to talk to them, try to understand some small problem that they are having. Um, and then you can analyze the context, try to get some data, uh, come up with like some uh, insightful recommendation. Like, your recommendations don't need to be, kind of restructuring the whole company. Your recommendation should be feasible and insightful. That's the most important thing. So employers actually, they are looking at your thought process. So they may not, implement your suggestion. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is to showcase your thought process. So that's the most important thing. So you can pick anything. So I can give you like one example. I remember when I was applying for jobs after my PhD, so one company sent me a data set, and they said, okay, we will give you 2 weeks. So you have to analyze this data in Python, and then you have to give us, it is a pricing, a diamond pricing model. So I had to build 2 diamond pricing models, uh, and then make my recommendations. So if you Google diamond pricing challenge or something, you can find a similar. You can get the data. Even you can download the data set, I think. So it's a very popular problem. So you can download the data and see how to build a model. It can be simple linear regression model, or it can be anything. And you can see, let's say, if it is when you price the diamond, if the buyer is he buying it or not. If it is a yes no problem, you can even build a logistic regression, right? Not rather than or you can just uh, you can, if not, you can forecast the the diamond price for that under given circumstances. So it was a profit maximizing project, but we have a certain constraints. Like I had a budget, I have to predict selling prices and also bid and ask prices. So we have bidders, we have ask price. So if the bidder is okay with my ask price, then I can sell that diamond, so I get profit. If they don't agree with that, agree with my ask price, they will go away from the deal. That means I'm losing my budget. So I have a budget constraint also, something like that. So under such a scenario, how do you maximize your profit? So that's just one example. So if you can do something like that, even if it is not relevant to what you are doing, you can still explain your thinking process. How do you clean your data? What did you do? How did you, split your data into train and test? What did you do with your missing data? What kind of summary statistics did you use? Why did you come up with this type of a model? What you learned? Where did you go wrong? So those are very important things. Um, uh, like when you especially talking about like facing to an interview, so you can explain these things. Even if it is utter failure, that's fine. It's a learning. So that's very important. Yep. Any other questions? Okay, so for someone graduating with a mathematical finance degree from USC, what are the biggest gaps we face when going for an MSc? For an MSc, I don't see any gap, like especially no, no, you are fine. You have enough theoretical background. Uh, just to give you some thoughts, like where I say, I did my first degree in 2010, and then I started my master MSc in 2016. So I had a 6-year gap. So I mean, I did an MBA in finance. It doesn't have any mathematical, solid anything interesting. So I remember in 2016, in 2015, when I was studying for GRE, I remember I was not even able to recall y equal mx plus c formula, the formula for linear function. I was But in 2016, when I started everything comes back, and so you're fine. So with your background, um, so I can so our final year is like the first year of the masters in here. So you're fine. So it's not about the knowledge; it's about the practical exposure. The biggest gap, what I would say, is our coding skills. We don't know how to work with the version control system like JIT, right? So those are very important because we haven't done any project by using those uh, JIT environment or Git or whatever it is. We should know how to use version control system. We should know how to work as a team. So we have a branch, and everybody is giving their inputs or make changes on that branch, and then we can use them. Because even after my PhD, so my PhD mostly focused on theory stuff. So for me, I didn't want to have a computer because to have a maths PhD, mostly it is you just need a paper and pencil, and like only if you are when we are doing like when we have the theory built, when we do our application check, that means when we run simulations, then only we need a computer. But then at also that's also not in a team. Like I had my own project, so I was doing my own thing, so I didn't use those version control systems, and I had zero experience when I was going into the real world, and where they were in a team, they were using this version control systems to build the teamwork. So I was having a hard time understanding what they are saying. So when people are talking about, okay, let's create a branch and you can push your changes, I was like, oh, what's that, man? I don't even understand what you're saying. I didn't even, the only branch I knew is on the tree. I didn't know any other branch. So that was a challenge. For you, fill these gaps beforehand and make so that you can be more comfortable when you are going into the real world. Okay, nice. So you have any other questions? Okay, it looks like we don't have any other questions.
Okay, seeing no further questions, we can now proceed to wrap up today's session. Before we conclude, we'd love to capture this moment with a photograph. So, if everyone could just on your cameras for a quick group screenshot, please. Okay, then to everyone who joined, thank you so much. Your curiosity and engagement is what drives this community forward. And stay connected with SAIFA for more live sessions, career insights, and opportunities. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Yeshan Withanage. And until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and hope you all have a great night ahead. Good night.
Thank you.